Hello, today we're going to be trying out the new US Assault Engineer Squad. Um, you get it through the Winter Workshop event. And one thing that I find interesting, which was the same with the Soviet and German ones, is that you still could give it, a rifle, but and a shotgun technically, but you can't give it an SMG, meaning you have to use an assault rifle. And so it really leaves you, and it's going to be the same case with the Japan one later. But you kind of have to use the hide with the squad to get, any benefit out of it. Whereas like Germany, with theirs, you choose between these. Obviously the 44 is the best one. But, you know, and they're all BR5s, so there's kind of no point, I guess. But I see people that prefer like the MP43 because it's just a little slower, but it's still the same damage. And you could even argue this is slower, meaning it's better at longer range if you think about it, but regardless, you have to use the hide with the squad, and I particularly never liked the hide for the US. I'm I am a firm believer that the Thompson is um the same if not better than the hide, and the fact that you can't put a Thompson on the squad, in my opinion, is a little odd. And so to test that and to sort of review this new squad, I brought two squads, both equipped with Thompsons. This is the 100 round, this is the regular 50. And I'm just gonna see which one performs better, either this Hyde squad or this Thompson squad. Because I feel like if you were able to put a Thompson on this, it would actually be a lot better. So we got a pretty good map, I'd say. I don't love the Pacific Theater maps, but it is good that we're attacking on a map using the assault engineers, so that should give you like the best view of the squad, because the point of this is really to be a more offensive engineer squad. But one thing to note is you can only use engineers, so you can't bring anti-tank or anything like that, or machine gunner. And so Japan doesn't really have the strongest tanks, but just in general, when you fight like Germany and stuff, this squad's gonna have a hard time dealing with tanks. But you do get the assault rifle, which is kind of the whole benefit. Okay, so I see a tank there, right? There it is. Problem is, I mean, it's good that we're on the this squad, but oh my god. But like that engineer squad, I mean, obviously they wouldn't be parachuting, but if you couldn't use an anti-tank person, we really couldn't deal with this, because you could build the like the anti-tank gun, but I would say 9 out of 10 tanks in this game, I'd probably say 10 out of 10 tanks are normally killed at AT. So it kind of sucks that the engineer squad doesn't get AT or anything really as a substitute, because just 6 engineers, even though you have an assault gun, like assault rifle, you really, I feel like an engineer squad is more about the utility it brings and less of the gun. And I don't think, in my opinion, the having the hide really offsets having little to no like utility. Okay, we got our squad back. I'm gonna use this rally point and build up my own, which I must say it's good that you get a squad that's it's an assault rifle, and you can still build rally point even if just one of your squad members go down. Because a lot of assault squads, you know, they're designed to attack with, but you might only have one engineer in it. So it's good that even if that, like, even if all your squad members except for one dies, you could still put up a rally. That's one pro of the squad, whereas the standard assault squad, you know, your one or two engineers you have in it, if they both die to like artillery randomly, then you just lose the ability to put a rally point or get new ammo. One thing I will say is that, to my knowledge, the hide itself has relatively the same recoil as the Thompson, but I find myself being able to hit shots at longer range with the hide, which kind of makes sense because it's an assault rifle. But I'd say the stats for the hide are a bit misleading in that aspect.
Any more where that came from?
I did alright there. That right there is something. Like, if I was in that situation and I had to hide, I would not have had the ammo to do that. And that's one pro of the Thompson, in my opinion. Because it has that, like, trench clearing ability. That you kind of don't have with the hide, because there's a lack of ammo. What I'm thinking now is, and I'll give a more detailed explanation later, I guess, but I think you gotta treat this squad less of a engineer squad and more of an assault squad that gets the perk of being engineers, if that makes sense. Because your assault squad, you kind of just, it exists to do damage, and then you might have an engineer in it to be able to build one rally point, and then you push in with your assault people. Whereas the squad, you have the flexibility to bring a hide, which you would probably use on your assault squad anyway, and then you just have the option to always be able to build engineer buildings. I'll try to put a flank rally down. One thing is, if you're doing a flank rally, kind of put it a bit farther back than like right at the objective, just so they have a harder time seeing where your flank rally's at. And I think it's really important on this map to do it, especially this objective, because you kind of have to go in from behind to realistically kill these people. See, this range that we're kind of fighting at now, I think is the hide's like best range. My closing thoughts on this squad is that I don't think this squad is any better than like a Engineer 2 squad. The stats of their soldiers, I didn't get them to tier 5 yet, but it's about the same as a regular engineer. They might have slightly better vitality and stuff, but I don't even know. I think it's stupid that they gave him the hide. I know it's the only assault rifle the US has, but I just don't think the hide is a good enough gun to kind of offset the disability of having more diverse squad types because you can only use engineers, whereas if you had a dedicated engineer squad from the tech tree, you could have maybe like 4 engineers, an assaulter, an anti-tank, or 3 engineers, assault, anti-tank, and machine gunner. And you have more diversity when you actually are fighting. Whereas the squad, you lose that, but you gain a full squad of engineers with an assault gun. But I don't think the hide is a good enough gun to kind of offset that. But in my opinion, over the hide, I would rather have like the M2 carbine. And if that's the case, I could just use a regular engineer squad. So I don't think I'll see myself using the squad that much, but it is cool to have. And if you like the hide, or you really haven't researched a lot in your tech tree, then I think picking up the squad from the event, and then it could help you grind through the like later ranks of the US tech tree. But I think once you unlock everything in tier 5, there's really no point for this squad. And I'd argue there's also no point for the previous assault squads for the Germans and the Soviets, but I feel like they're at least close enough to where I could see someone choosing it over the regular engineer squads, but I don't think the hide is a good enough gun to say that I'd rather have only engineers and them only have hides versus a squad with like half engineers, half utility squads like anti-tank and stuff like that. And although they won't have an assault gun, the engineers will have the M2 carbine, which is an automatic weapon, or the T20. And I feel like both of those guns are better than the hide. I think that's just a problem with the US tech tree, that there's any range where the hide is better than the carbine, and you also get a more diverse squad. I just don't think this beats out the tech tree engineer squad in any way. But still good to pick up if you don't have that many squads in the US tech tree. But do note that the only assault gun you could use is the hide, because there's no other, as of now, there's no other US assault rifle. If that changes and they release a better, like American assault rifle rather, then the squad might see more use or be better. But as of now, I don't think it's a good gun at all, and I don't think the squad is any better than the regular one.